Hi, my name is Rebecca, and this is a vlog about knitting. It's an annual vlog. I was gonna say that's not true, but it kind of is. My name is Rebecca. Did I say that? And I am 41, and I live in Washington State, and I am a knitter. And oh yeah, and I live with my boyfriend and my 4 kids. My daughter moved out, and my other daughter's about to move out too. So I'm only gonna have 3 kids at home, which is kind of crazy. Um, and I have a dog. Last time I saw you, I think I had 2 dogs. I had a dog, a Mastiff, and he died. He had lymphoma, so that was pretty awful. I didn't know it, but lymphoma takes dogs really fast. From his first symptom to his death was 18 days. And he was only 4 years old, so that was really sad. So now we only have our dog, Kevin, our chocolate lab. This whole thing is going to be super depressing today. I'm sorry. My life has been, I don't want to say it's been like crazy because it's less crazy than other people, but for me, if I have like more than one thing going on in a week, I'm like overwhelmed. So it is summertime, and I have actually started making stuff again. I have not made anything in forever. I just didn't feel inspired. That's it. I think that what happened was the Stephen West debacle definitely took a lot of wind out of my sails, and then I just haven't felt like there's anything that I'm like jumps out at me like, oh, I need to make that, because it seems like nothing new has really happened. I haven't even been on Ravelry in forever, which is actually great because now that I have actually gone back on Ravelry, like all the patterns are new again. It's not the same stuff over and over again. Okay, so here I am. I'm back. I'm going to talk about craft stuff, and then I'm gonna go into my life stuff, which you might or might not want to stick around for. So the thumbnail today is a picture of a blanket that my great grandmother crocheted back in, I don't know when, but just judging by the colors, I'm gonna go ahead and say it was in the 70s sometime. And it was one of my favorite blankets growing up because it was huge and it was crocheted and it had like the miter squares and, you know, stitched together with the blue. And I love that. And it's still around. My mom still has it. And I think it's really cool because my great grandma made it. She's obviously no longer here. And I love everything. I loved her. I love my great grandpa. And so I want one. So I started making one, I think I showed you guys, and it was like these little tiny mitered squares. I mean, they're not little tiny, but they kind of sucked to make. They were just double crochet. Here's the thing, I don't like crochet. I don't like it. And a lot of times when people are like, when you say you don't like crochet, or you don't like knitting, or you don't like whatever it is, they assume it's a lack of knowledge. And they're like, well, if you just learned how, I know how. To some extent, I know how. It's not like I've never done it before. I've crocheted quite a few things, and I don't like it. I'm sorry, I just don't like it. I don't think that there's very much you can do in crochet that you can't do in knitting, with the exception of granny squares. And I don't think most people like granny squares, actually. I think that they like them for the kitsch factor and not for the actual like, oh, I really love this, which is, I shouldn't be judgy about that because I knit a lot of things that are kind of wild and nobody would actually like. And that doesn't stop me. So crochet what you want. I just feel like I feel like it's common knowledge and nobody wants to admit it, okay? It's a little kitsch, that's all I'm saying. And there's a place for kitsch. But I don't even think that the amigurumi, like the crocheted amigurumi, I don't think they look as good as the knit stuffed animals, okay? I mean, I wouldn't make them. You make them if that's what you want to do. I know a lot of people really love them compared to the knitted ones. And that's totally fine. It's not that I don't know how, I just don't like to. And I think the other thing, maybe it is a part of I don't know how. No, it's really not, because even if I knew how, I wouldn't do it. But I definitely am more of a like both wrists crocheter, and it hurts my wrists. And I know that some people like hold it still and then they do like this pencil thing. And I've tried that and I don't know how. I think it just makes it faster and probably more comfortable, but I don't need to be fast and I don't need to be comfortable because I don't want to make anything anyway. Except I want a crocheted blanket. Now that's the thing that crochet is actually good for, is making blankets really, really fast. There's that, I guess. I don't want to knit a king-size blanket. Not really. I don't really want to do that. So crochet is good for that. Do they look better? No, because I'm being mean. you know, you've seen those like king size blankets people knit and they're like beautiful and cables and they're like heirloom quality. And then you've seen crocheted blankets and a lot of them, most of them are just not the same. And I just said heirloom quality as if I didn't just talk about this crocheted blanket that my great grandmother made that I love. I'm a hypocrite, okay? I think we've established that. So I'm sorry if I offended you with any of my crochet opinions, but they should not offend you because they're my opinions and not yours. And you are free to like what you want. And if you got on your YouTube and you were like, I hate knitting, I would be like, okay, so don't knit. That's fine. Doesn't stop me. Shouldn't stop you. If you stopped crocheting because some random stranger on the internet said that they didn't really enjoy it or didn't like it, that would be, you don't like crocheting. You don't like crocheting either, so you would absolutely agree with me, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Hi, so I have been crocheting. So the picture on the front, okay, so the miter squares, I wasn't into it. I tried it, they were all wonky, I didn't like it. I kept trying and I just didn't. So I was like, you know, I'm not gonna make a replica, I'm gonna make an inspired by. That is something that more that I would actually like to do. And it can just be along the same theme, I guess. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm making these octagons. I have not woven in the ends, okay? I haven't. I will, because you can't have a blanket with ends hanging out. So this is definitely the end thing that you have to weave in ends on crochet, on a blanket. So my great grandmother's blanket had the mustard in the middle, and then it was connected with blue. Everything was connected with blue. So there was always mustard and always blue. I'm going to put the name of the pattern down below because I don't remember what it's called. It's just hexagons, and you're supposed to put them like not disjointed, but you know what I mean, like off center. Okay, so I made these. My grandma did it in these colors. She used a lot of variegated, so I might actually go to the store and get more. This is just Big Twist from Joanne, just the acrylic stuff, because, and that's the other thing about crochet is it takes so much yarn. You can't even like make anything out of wool or anything else unless you're like want to spend a lot of money. It's just not the same. And so I don't have shame. I will use Red Heart and Big Twist, and nobody should ever feel ashamed about the yarn they use ever, because if you like it, then you should like it. And I don't judge people for using Red Heart because I'm not a yarn snob. I think if you want to make a gorgeous color work fingering weight sweater out of acrylic you found at the garage, I don't care. Good for you, right? Like you're doing more than a lot of people. Okay, so I made these just randomly picking the colors, and I have 4, which is actually quite a bit. I make like 2 a day, so I've only been doing this for 2 days. So I think it's gonna be cool. I'm only probably gonna do like a throw size. My great grandmother made like a king size or something ridiculous. I'm just gonna probably do this till I get tired of it, and maybe it'll just be a baby blanket and I'll give it to my first grandchild in 20 years. I don't know, I need to weave in the ends though. I was going to do it as I went, but I haven't done that because I didn't have a needle, and the needle to do that was all the way over there. So I didn't feel like getting up and getting it over the course of 2 days. So this is just Red Heart. It's not Red Heart, it's Big Twist, but I do have some Red Heart that I'm going to use too. And yeah, I'm making a blanket. And I don't really understand the point of making a really nice blanket out of crochet because it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. And I mean, if people like it, they like it. But here's, for me, I want a king size blanket that's pink. You can have pink sheets. You can actually just do that. I want to do that, and I want a pink blanket, but in reality, it's probably a lot faster and cheaper and easier to just go to the store and buy one. And I won't have to worry if it gets thrown in the dryer, and it'll just be, it doesn't matter. And I know people say that about sweaters and stuff too. Oh, just go to Walmart and buy one. Yeah, if you want to go to Walmart and just buy a sweater, you can do that. If you don't see the value in having a hand knit one, then you shouldn't do it, right? So this is what I'm doing. Mustard and blue. These are not colors I would pick. Maybe she just had, maybe somebody gave her a lot of blue, or she found it at a garage sale, or maybe she just liked mustard and blue. Maybe that style will come back and people will be like, wow, you're such a visionary, Rebecca. You did this in 2024 and now it's 2030 and these are like most popular colors ever. Maybe, or maybe it'll just be weird, and that's totally fine too. I don't enjoy crocheting and I'm only going to do this as long as I enjoy it. And my plan is to seam them together kind of as I go. And that way I don't get to the end with like 45 of these things and then never sew them together. So I think I'm going to do that as I go. Yeah. I don't like crocheting, and it's not for lack of knowledge. I just don't enjoy it. Somebody told me that I should go check out TL Knits, TL Crafts, TL, I'm going to put it down the down bar, TL something. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, you'll really love crochet. She's so fun. And you know what? She is really fun. I watched a ton of her videos. I really enjoyed them, even though it's all about crochet, because, you know, it's fun to listen to somebody talk about something they love. But I'm just not. It didn't convert me. I'm trying. So actually, funny story. Once I decided I wanted to be the kind of person who drank White Claw. And so I tasted one of my sisters, and it was really good. I only had one sip. It was really good, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy a bunch of White Claw. So I went to Costco, and I bought like a big thing of White Claw. And it turns out I didn't like it at all. Like the first sip was kind of okay, and after that, it just went downhill. And I was like, no, I bought this thing. I'm going to drink it because it was expensive and there's a ton of them. And I don't think you're allowed to give those away on Buy Nothing. So I was just like, meh, whatever. Okay, I'm going to drink these. So I forced myself to do it. Like over a couple days or a week, I forced this stuff down my throat. And it turned out that at the end of this time, I actually really liked it. And for a while, I was a White Claw drinker. I don't drink anymore, totally sober. But I drink sparkling water now because I like it now. I Stockholm Syndrome myself into liking White Claw and sparkling water. So, because I'm cheap, honestly. I feel like maybe I was thinking maybe I could Stockholm Syndrome myself into liking crochet. So far it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened, but you know, it could always happen, right? It could happen. I could come on here in like a month and be like, wow, that was really stupid. I'm going to delete that video because crochet is the best thing ever. It could happen because a lot of people like crochet. I could be one of them. It could happen, but I don't really have a desire to do it like I did the White Claw. I don't know, but I'm really glad I like sparkling water now because I get to buy it and everybody else in my house hates it, which is cool. That's good for me because they don't drink it. They don't drink it. I drink Waterloo, the peach one. Like this is all I drink now. It's the best flavor. It is the best flavor. There's no other flavors are as good as this. I am like really stumbling over my words today. So crochet, I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nicer crochet hook because I know they exist. So I was looking at my crochet hooks to show you what I have. All I have is these ones, like the boy, is that how you say it? Crochet hooks, and they're really not comfortable. I know there's more comfortable ones out there. So I'm going to, I think, try to get like one of the clover ones that are more ergonomic and a cheap, hopefully, an ergonomic one that's cheap. Don't suggest something that's like super expensive because I don't want to go out and spend $20 on a crochet hook when I hopefully only use it one time. I have crochet hooks because of knitting. You pick up the stitches, right? What are you guys knitting? Like, what is inspiring you right now? What do you want to knit? Please tell me what's inspiring. What is like fun? Because I want to get back into it because I have a million skeins of yarn, like beyond a lifetime. I have a huge gift certificate for Eat Sleep Knit that I got for my birthday. I have so much yarn and I want to fall in love with it again. It really is depressing that I haven't actually done anything serious for a long time. Stephen West probably, maybe, has another mystery knit along coming up. I should have brought you guys. I haven't worked on it, okay? And I probably never will. So don't ever ask me about it again. If I ever work on it, I will show you, okay? It's so, the slip stitch section, I can't get through it. I just can't. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's so bad. I wish there was an alternative for that instead of the alternative for the center. That's what he really needed. I'm sorry. My bra keeps slipping and I don't care. But I apologize then. Okay. Crafting. Do you guys want to hear about my life? Because I don't. It's been horrible. It's been horrible. So I think a big part of the reason that I wasn't knitting is because, or crafting is because during the school year, I had 4 kids in like 4 different schools and I had a lot of drama with the school, and then I got my kids to change schools, which was the best thing that's ever happened. Oh, you guys know about that. But my daughter was in Running Start and she was in 0 Hour, and my my younger girls had choir, and my son started going to the Y and needed to be picked up, and like I was just, and orthodontist appointments, dentist appointments, doctor appointments. I was driving everywhere all day. There were days that I like literally wouldn't come home till like noon, and then I would have to like turn around and go again. And I know for a lot of people that's their life. It's not the life for me. It was miserable. Every second of the day that I was in the car, I was hating life. And it was like, I felt like I couldn't come home. You know, I had to like always go somewhere. It was like I would come home for an hour. I'd come home for 2 hours. I'd have to go do that, and then I have to go grocery shopping. And so it was like there was never really time to sit down and like actually focus on a project. And it was the most miserable time of my life. This next school year, hopefully nothing happens. There's no 0 hour. There's no choir except for once a week. There's no more orthodontist appointments. All my kids are out of braces. No more doctor appointments for a while because there was some other stuff. My doctor appointments. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. And I spent the entire school year at the doctor's office too. If I wasn't driving my kids around, I was at the doctor's office. You guys want to hear about my medical problems? Sure you do. So in January, they thought I had a brain tumor. In fact, they thought I had a brain tumor so much that they told me I had one before I got the imaging. Then it came back and they were like, oh, you don't have a brain tumor. Like, thanks for that. Thanks for that 3 months of misery. Appreciate that. That was really great. Thinking you have a brain tumor. And then they were like, no, you don't have a brain tumor, but you actually have a tumor in your face that's 3 centimeters that needs to be removed or looked at. And I was like, oh dang, that kind of sucks. So it turns out that 3 years ago, I went and I got a CAT scan at the emergency room for something completely different. And they missed this tumor in my, like right next to my eyeball, like right here. And it grew since that time in 3 years. So when I finally got this diagnosed, it was bigger and it was like pushing into my eye socket, which is crazy. I didn't really have any symptoms because all I had was like headaches that would always be like right here. And I just thought they were stress headaches. So I never went to the doctor about it because I was like, it just hurt occasionally. And I'd take an ibuprofen and I would be fine. Apparently it can like erode your bone pretty bad and like ruin your eye socket. So it's good that we caught it when we did. But the crazy thing was they didn't know what it was. On the imaging, they had no idea what this thing was. They were like, this looks very different than anything we've ever seen before. No idea. So they actually went up and they looked at it and they were like, yeah, we can't biopsy that. It's too dangerous. So we're going to have to put you to sleep and go see what it is. That wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy that at all. 0 stars. So then I had to wait another month to get this thing out of my face. And it was really scary because it was like, it could be cancer, it could not be cancer. I don't know. Don't know what it is. And so I went in and I had the surgery to remove it. That went really well. And they pulled it out of my face. And then we had to wait another week for the biopsy to come back. You want to know what it was? It was a intraosseous hemangioma growing out of my nasal bone into my eyeball. So what that is like, it's almost like, you know how people, when they're born, they have like the strawberry marks, the port wine stains. It's like that, but it was growing on my bone, right? Which isn't a big deal. So it was super vascular, growing directly on my bone. What happened was I got a bone tumor right there that grew into it. And so it was like pushing this hemangioma out and it was filling it the inside with solid bone. Kind of crazy. That like is a very rare thing that almost never happens to people. And when it does, it usually happens like in their skull or something. So the fact that it was growing out of my nasal bone is actually like, it's only ever been documented like one other time. That's why they didn't know what it was. It wasn't cancerous. It was very benign. An intraosseous hemangioma was on the list of things it could be, and it was the best possible outcome. So that's good. They just actually, what they said was that it was like really like not even very connected well. And so they like bumped it to see what it was and like just to like touch it, and it fell off. Like the bone part separated. So I guess they just cut it off, and it sucked. The recovery sucked so bad I thought I was gonna die. I wasn't in danger of dying, but it sucked. I had like this tube coming out of my nose for like a week and it hurt really bad. It was horrible. Don't recommend. It really cemented the deal. I will never, ever, ever have nasal surgery if I don't have to. Like no nose job. I kind of used to think about getting a nose job, but not anymore. Not anymore. I can't imagine. It was horrible. And I just had the easiest surgery in the world. In fact, they told me not to drink for like 14 hours before the surgery. So I was like super dehydrated when I went in there. And it took them 45 minutes to get an IV going. They poked me 22 times. And I had to, they eventually had to go into my ankle to sedate me and then use an ultrasound to get a deeper vein in my arm, which luckily I was not aware of that, or I forgot. It doesn't matter either way. And then my surgery was like 20 minutes long. So It's fine. It's fine. And then they put me on antibiotics after my surgery, which normally I would not have done because I don't like antibiotic use. I use a lot of antibiotics throughout my life, and so I try not to use them. But because I had exposed bone, I was like, well, I guess I don't want a bone infection in my face, right? So I took the antibiotics and everything was great. Then, like 2 weeks later, I went to my doctor and I was like, hey, I was on this antibiotics and they helped my UTI, my chronic UTI that I've had forever. And so I was thinking maybe I could just like take them some more and like maybe just not have a UTI anymore. And the doctor was like, yeah, sure, sounds good. And I'm like, cool, I love my doctor. Okay, so don't talk trash about my doctor. Do not. I will block you because I love him. So he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Guys, okay, my UTI went away. That was good. But I got C. diff. I got C. diff from my antibiotics, which I didn't even know you could get from antibiotics. I thought that it was like a virus. And I don't feel stupid saying that because who would know? How would you know, right? Because I know that people get it when they're in the hospital and then the nurses have a C. diff room and then they transfer it to like all around the hospital. That's how you get C. diff, right? No, it's not. I mean, you can, but you can get it from antibiotics. So I got C. diff. They put me on antibiotics and that went fine until it came back right after the antibiotics were finished, like special antibiotics for C. diff. And then I finished my antibiotics and it came back. And not only did it come back with a vengeance and it came back with sepsis. So I went to the ER and I was in the hospital for 4 days with C. diff and sepsis. Going to the hospital with C. diff is one of the worst things that can ever happen to a person, in my personal opinion, because there's no dignity in it at all. C. diff is basically like dysentery. In fact, actually, I'm wearing my shirt today that says, "Get in, loser, we're dying of dysentery." Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible because everything that happens to you there is very public and it happens like 15 times a day. And I didn't have to wear diapers or anything, but there was a bedside thing and it was pretty horrific. Don't recommend at all. It was one of the worst things that I've ever been through because you can imagine how absolutely disgusting that is, right? Not for me, not for me. So I got C. diff. You guys, it was so bad. It was so bad. I didn't even have a bad case of it. Like I didn't have any stomach upset or anything like that. It was just, I got sepsis and that was the main problem. But I got top of the line antibiotics and took them for 10 days and it is better. I am better. I don't have C. diff anymore. It was horrible. I wasn't able to go to my daughter's graduation party. She wasn't able to go either because I had C. diff. Having C. diff was so horrible. It was so horrible. And I can't even go into details because it's absolutely vile. But yeah, it's basically just like having dysentery and I had sepsis. But I only had mild sepsis. So I was only in the hospital for 4 days. And I didn't go into septic shock or anything. It was very, not really a huge deal. I was kind of unconscious for the first 2 days, which is good because there was a massive accident. It was so bad. And they had to like sponge bathe me in the bed, but I was like unconscious for most of it. Like I was aware of what was going on, but like not like enough to be like humiliated at the time. Oh, it was horrible. Guys, it was so sad. But it's over. It's over. I don't have antibiotics anymore. I don't have C. diff anymore. And I don't have a UTI anymore. So there's that. There's that. And what's really sad about this whole thing is when my doctor had given me the antibiotics for the UTI, I was graduated from medical care. Like I had been going to the doctor for so much for all these various things. And the day he gave me the UTI or the antibiotics, I was like, okay, should I schedule a follow-up? And he was like, you don't have to come back till your next physical. Oh my God. I was so happy. I was like, great, I love you, but I never want to see you again. Like if I had my choice, I would never, ever, ever see you again. But you're my favorite. Oh my God. And you know what else happened to me? When I went to the ER? So they put me on ADHD meds like a couple months ago, whatever. And so I was taking them responsibly because I do. Okay. And so I got there and I tested positive for amphetamines in my system, which is normal. And I always test, it's been more than 3 months. Okay. It's been like a year. I always test positive for amphetamines in my system because I take amphetamines. All on the up and up. It's all like in my chart. They can all see it. Anyway, they said that basically I was a meth head. And I was like, no, I'm not on drugs because I have a prescription. You can see that. And they were like, yeah, well, you're probably on meth. So they didn't even treat my sepsis until they were sure that I wasn't just coming down from a meth high. You guys, I hadn't even taken my medication in almost 24 hours because I took it at like 7 a.m. and I got sepsis symptoms at like 3 a.m. So it turns out that waiting for your meth high to go down does not cure sepsis. So they were like, ah, dang, I guess that's not it. And then they started treating me. And then they didn't even believe me. They did not believe me at all. I had a doctor come in after I was already admitted, after I was already being treated for sepsis. And he was like, hey, do you use recreational drugs? And I was like, absolutely not, because I don't. And he was like, you tested positive for methamphetamine. That's not even a real thing, okay? You can't test positive for methamphetamine. You can test positive for amphetamine, which I did. And I was like, well, I have a prescription for that. And he was like, well, you're not getting it here. Okay, I know. I don't need it here because I don't need to focus on being in the hospital. I'm good. And he was like, you don't need that. And I was like, okay, well, my doctor thinks I do, but I don't need it here. I agree with you, so it's good. And he was like, adults need to wean off that. Okay, well, you're not my doctor. I didn't say that, but it's like, you're not my doctor, man. You don't know me. You don't know me. And I'm not on drugs. Leave me alone. So then he went ahead and took my Vyvanse prescription away. Like, took it off the list of things I'm allowed to take. So that was fun and cool and exciting. I talked to my doctor, and my doctor was like, that's cool. Well, that sucks. He's like, I can, add it back. And I was like, you know what? Let's wait. Let's wait. Because C. diff can come back pretty easily, like within the first couple weeks. And I was like, let's just wait until I'm out of the clear with C. diff and then start up my medication again, because I don't want to go back to the ER and test positive for amphetamines again and have them think that I'm on something, because I'm not. You guys. I have never seen drugs in real life. I saw Breaking Bad a few years ago. That is the closest I've ever been to methamphetamine. I don't know anybody who uses drugs. I never leave my house. And when I have a medication, I have to go to the pharmacy. I send Neil. I send my boyfriend to go do that because I don't want to leave my house. I don't know how to do drugs. I don't know anybody who sells drugs. If I tried to buy drugs, it would probably be a cop, knowing my luck. Or it would be a person who thought I was a cop, and that would be the end of that. And then if I managed to get it, they could give me Pop Rocks or kosher salt, and I would be like, oh, okay, that sounds legit, because I don't know the difference. And then I'd have to go home and Google how to use it. I don't even know how. I know you don't just eat it, but I feel like that would be my first attempt, because everything else sounds hard. I don't want to melt stuff down. And I'm definitely not poking myself, because I'm afraid of needles. That's not happening. I don't know how to roll anything. Do you take the rocks and just light them I don't know. I've never rolled anything in my life. And I mean, honestly, if I don't want to go to the pharmacy, I don't want to go find my dealer. Okay, I don't want to go to trap houses. People are scary. I am not. Can you imagine? Can you imagine going to a trap house and being like, yeah, this is good? No, I want to sit at home. I want to knit. I want to crochet. I want to do the New York Times crossword puzzle. I want to watch documentaries, and I want to watch the news. Those are my hobbies. And I would make the worst meth head ever. I really would. I wouldn't be good at it, because I don't want to leave my house. I'd have to call my dealer and be like, can you do a delivery? And he would be like, look, that's extra. And I would be like, sorry, because that's my yarn money. I can't pay for that. Sorry. You know what I mean? It seems like a lot of work to be on drugs, and I don't like work. I'm pretty lazy. And then it just doesn't look fun. Have you ever seen somebody and they're on meth or fentanyl or something and out in public? It doesn't look fun. Have you ever seen somebody on drugs in public and went, that's the life for me? No, you haven't. And the thing about me also is that I would love drugs. I would love them. If I started them, I would never stop, because I know myself well enough to know that I get addicted to things easily, and I would not be able to stop. And so, I always tell my kids, drugs are great. Drugs are fantastic. You will love them. You will love them more than anything. You will love them more than your home. You will love them more than having a home. You'll love them more than your family. You'll love them more than your children. You will love them more than food. You will love them more than your face. You will love them more than anything in your life. You will love them that much. Don't do them. Because when you tell people drugs are bad and then they do them, they're like, no, the drugs aren't bad. They're great. yes, they are. They are great. And, you know, it's funny, is actually my daughter was working at a hospital at one point, and she was taking care of this guy who had his intestines had like basically like explode. I don't know what's up with my lighting. His intestines had basically exploded, and he was like a lifetime drug dealer, and he was like 60 and had like sold drugs his whole life, so he was like way up there. And she was telling him what I had said, that drugs are amazing, and he was like, "That your mom is smart. That is the best advice I've ever heard anybody say to their kids." So if you have kids or you have grandkids, tell them they will love drugs. I've seen people love drugs so much. You know, I mean, if you've ever known anybody who gets addicted to things, it's not like they don't do them because they hate them. So there's that. I've never tried drugs. I don't know. But I know I would love them. I would love them more than anything. So I don't do them. That's one of the reasons. The other one is that I'm too soft for prison. Can you imagine me in prison? I have to watch, when I watch a violent movie, I literally will watch it through my fingers. Like I just said, I watched Breaking Bad. Most of it I watched through my fingers because it's so violent. Game of Thrones, through my fingers. Walking Dead, through my fingers, because I can't handle it. And if I can't handle it on a TV show, imagine what I would be like in prison. I'd be scared. I'd be crying all the time, and people would beat me up and take my lunch money. And first day, I would be somebody's bitch. I'm just throwing that out there because I'm not tough. And they're loud and scary, and there's fights, and I've never fought anybody in my life, and I don't want to start. And I think when you go to prison, you have to fight people. See, that's the thing. You do drugs, and the next thing you know, you're fighting people in prison because they want to steal your ramen. Okay? I don't want to stab anybody. I don't want people yelling at me in my face. I don't want to take public showers and get like 3 pads for my period and then nothing else. Like, I don't want to do that. It sounds horrible. You know what sounds fun? Crocheting. All things considered. Right? I think you'll all agree with me. Unless you've been to prison and you liked it. Maybe you have. I don't know. Sometimes people are badasses and you don't know. Can't tell. I am not a badass. Not even a little bit. I can't imagine anything worse than going to like a prison doctor. I thought it was horrible when the ER doctors thought I was on meth. Can you imagine what it's like going to a prison doctor who hates you? And I know they do. I knew a prison doctor. Didn't like them. They're not nice. Why am I ranting about prison? Because I'm still mad about the fact that they thought that I was on meth. And it makes me mad because it's like, what if I was on meth? I still have sepsis, and I still deserve to be treated for my sepsis. And you can't just... I mean, if you're on meth or something and then your foot blows off, you get run over by a car, it doesn't matter that you're on meth. Maybe they should fix your foot before they give you drug counseling. I'm just saying. So I show up with sepsis and C. diff. I already have a C. diff diagnosis, so it's not like I was asking them to test me for it. I literally already had the diagnosis. And I had signs of sepsis. And they were like, you know what you need? A lecture on the dangers of methamphetamine. Didn't help. Didn't help. And then they also thought I might have anxiety, so they gave me anti-anxiety drugs, which I love them. That's another thing. I could never use them outside of a hospital, right? They gave me anti-anxiety drugs, and that didn't cure my sepsis either, surprisingly. I know. It was shocking to everybody. So they had to actually treat me. But it's like, what if I was on meth? And it's like, it makes me think, because what if you abuse benzos? Or what if you don't even abuse benzos? What if you just need one and your friend gives you one, hypothetically? Or you have a prescription. And then you have a stroke just randomly. And you go to the ER because you're having a stroke. And then they test you for benzos. And they're like, oh, you tested for benzos? So you're probably just having benzos side effects. So we'll just wait that out and see if you're better. I have a feeling that wouldn't work. I don't know. I've never had a stroke. But I feel like waiting it out to see if your benzos wear off is probably not the best approach there. But what would I know? I'm not a doctor. You know what I was thinking that I wasn't going to say, or that I was going to say, but I didn't say it? Now I'm going to tell you at the very end of this. Have you ever like sat down and watched a podcast and they're like, or a vlog or whatever, and they're like, hey, I'm Rebecca, and I'm going to talk to you about my crafting. So just go ahead and like go get a drink. Have you ever stopped it? Have you ever paused it and went like, oh, I should go get a drink? That's a good idea. I'm going to go get a drink. I'm going to go get something warmed. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea before I come back and start watching the podcast. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of podcast watching or you know, vlog watching or whatever you want to call it. I don't think this ever happened. And it's just such a funny thing to to say. I think grab your knitting and go get a cup of, if I'm sitting down to watch, I probably am already ready. And if I wasn't ready, I would just take my phone with me to go make my tea. So I wouldn't have to pause it. I would just remember, oh yeah, tea sounds good. I'm gonna go get some of that. No, nobody does that, right? No one does that. I think we should stop saying that as a whole. I'm full of opinions today. Opinions, a couple crochet hexagrams, and a sob story about my health, and more crappy opinions. I'm gonna work on these and hopefully get back to you guys. I always forget that you can just actually turn on your camera and just make a video. Like, I just kind of forget you can do that, and it's like, oh, I should make a video, and then I don't because I feel like there's maybe some kind of preparation you have to do when there's not actually. So if you've ever thought about making a video about your crafting and put it on the internet, you should do that because there's no laws. You just sit down with a camera and talk to yourself for a while. That's what I do anyway. You don't have to edit things. I don't. I just throw it up there. Because I don't know. I don't want to bother editing. I got a million other things to do, and I don't even have anything to do, but I don't have time for that. Hi, if you made it this far, add me on Instagram. I'm working on getting better at Instagram. I was off Instagram for a really long time. And I'm back now. I'm trying to be back better. So add me on Instagram. Let's be friends. I follow people back. I'm not the kind of person, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm not trying to get followers. I'm trying to get friends. So if you want to be friends, even after I dissed crochet and I said I haven't knit in forever, and you're still like, hey, this is somebody I want to be friends with because I'm funny and kind of cool. Not really, I'm a dork. Then you can be friends with me. That's fine too. And so my Instagram is Hey It's Rebecca with an H at the end. A funny story, that's not how you spell my name. R-E-B-E-C-C-A-H. There's no H at the end of my name. That's a different story for another time. Okay, so I think I have everything. I know that I'm going to end this video and be like, oh, I forgot to say that. Rebecca, 41, Washington State, Kitsap County, if you're local. Oh my gosh, I met a knitter at a birthday party, just like randomly in the wild. And she's like super into it. And she is the crochet teacher at the elementary school. And I was like, oh my God, best friends. This is so great. And she was so cool. And she's like, just so you know, I'm moving in a year. We're going to Georgia. And I was like, dang, why can't I have knitting friends? Everybody lives far away. And it's the rule. You have to live far away from another knitter. If there's another knitter, you have to live like 500 miles away from them. They can't be local. So that's probably why she's moving, because I am meant to stay here and be the lone knitter within the 500 miles of me. So that sucks. I was really bummed about that. Anyway, cool. I will talk to you guys later if I finish at least one more of these. They take forever. I'm slow at it though. I feel like I'm fast, but then I watch videos of other people doing it and they're like 2 or 3 times faster than I am. So, okay, I'm gonna go. Have a great day, have a great week, have a great life. I don't know, maybe I'll never come back. And then, you know, I can't just say have a great day. Have a great life, too. We'll see. I'm rambling. Goodbye. I love you. Talk to you later.